It's hard not to start this video a little defensively. Traffic is one of those prestigious, sprawling award winners from the noughties whose reputation has become a little more divided as it's aged. Many hyperlink movies, a popular trend at the time, seem to share this trajectory. I mostly blame the manipulative, patronizing Crash for this, and the way it inadvertently entrenched the racist stereotypes it sought to challenge. But, followed closely by Inarritu's Babel and Chandra Kopti and Yaron Shawnee's Ajami, I think Steven Soderbergh gave us the genre's exemplary entry. Technically and narratively, the film is a remarkable feat of contrast. Inspired by the 1989 UK miniseries, 2000's Traffic shifts the focus from that country's Pakistani heroin trade to US importation from Mexican cartels. In hyperlink fashion, a series of interwoven stories follow police officer Javier Rodriguez, Republican judge and newly minted drug czar Robert Wakefield, his ironically drug-addicted daughter Caroline, the wife of a recently arrested cocaine distributor, Helena Ayala, and DEA officers Montel Gordon and Ray Castro, who have her under surveillance. Unlike some of the aforementioned films, the entwining narratives are always in conversation with each other to suspenseful and informative effect. The arcs of the characters are used to illustrate the inherent complexity and futility of the war on drugs, rather than to lay out a didactic, oversimplified solution. The film is also a fascinating artistic experiment for its use of color-coded narratives, something internet cinephiles also really hate right now. Extraction seemed to be patient zero for this, with its easily memeable use of a yellowy-brown filter meant to indicate a gross country that's not the United States. Now, wild action movies are my kryptonite, and I did enjoy Extraction, but the way filters are lazily applied in Western films, and to Mexico in particular, is a subtle form of othering we should be discussing critically. But it's not the technique itself. It's how and where said technique is applied. Soderbergh didn't just slap a lazy post filter on these different stories. He shot them on different film stocks, added and removed grain, exposed them differently, shot some handheld and some locked. In Traffic, the use of color coding is a deliberate, economic, and clever decision, and characterizing Washington as a cold blue purgatory ascribes as much potential otherness to the home front as it does to Tijuana.
What's Washington like?
What's Washington like? It's like Calcutta, surrounded by beggars. Only these beggars are wearing $1,500 suits and they don't say please and thank you.
Helena's story, meanwhile, is heavily saturated and a little overexposed to appear brighter, with an emphasis on the color red. This is meant to visually evoke the glamorous, passionate, and wealthy lifestyle she's slowly drawn into criminal activities to protect. Separating and contrasting the multiple narratives in a visual way helps keep this complex international story clear. The use of filters for visual contrast is most pronounced in the initial cuts between narratives and eases off as the film progresses and as our eyes naturally acclimatize. Just as the characters and their worlds slowly become more entwined, their lives all touched by the drug problem in one way or another, the colored borders slowly dissolve to us. Sometimes they literally cross-dissolve to give us a momentary third color. Scenes where characters cross over from one world to another are often punctuated and hypnotic moments. Of course, many of these entrancing cues wouldn't land without Cliff Martinez's versatile, beautiful ambient score. The unique sounds he uses create a mood and atmosphere all their own, and the tracks effortlessly seesaw between meditative and menacing. The truly hard drugs that society stigmatizes and sensationalizes, like crack and heroin, are gently compared to more socially accepted addictions and substances, like Helena admitting she's had some cheap glasses of red wine while pregnant.
I'm European. I say that to my doctor. I'm European. I'm allowed to drink red wine.
Oh, my doctor said it was fine when I was pregnant. A glass a week,
After my amnio,
Mm-hmm.
he said, okay, now you can go and have a glass of red wine.
You're like,
I had two.
Or Michael Douglas's character pounding scotches back to cope with all the defeatist drug war takes in a brilliant scene at a Washington fundraiser.
25% of high school seniors are using drugs. If you reduce that to 10, that's a great improvement. And I'll congratulate you. That'd be a phenomenal achievement. But you'd still have 10% habitually using drugs.
I guess scotch and soda, please.
This is also where the all-star cast, a Soderbergh staple, becomes thematically effective. It allows us to see familiar, high-profile people field addiction and squirm their way through complicated and compromising situations that challenge the veneer of celebrity. There's not a shred of overacting from anyone either. The performances are naturalistic and subtle, something partially achieved by Soderbergh's decision to impose a fast-paced shooting style with few takes.
Well, my instinct was, the more you felt the movie was caught instead of staged, that would be a good thing. And to that end, we adopted a very documentary-like approach. And we moved very quickly because I felt that momentum needed to come across on film. So I wanted this feeling that we were chasing the story as it was occurring.
The film takes great pains to dismantle the cliched image of disheveled, frothing-at-the-mouth drug users and glitzy drug lords that are so common in cinema the world over. Helena goes from kind suburban housewife and community figure to ruthless dealer in her husband's place as soon as her comfortable lifestyle and her son's security are threatened.
I'm not bringing your child into the life that I was brought up into. I won't do it, come. I want our life back.
Caroline, the film's most at-risk addict, is a straight-A student and workaholic, born into affluence and privilege.
You want to tell me what you're doing here, Caroline?
I feel like this film is ridiculously mischaracterized sometimes as some kind of preachy, ultra-conservative, outdated polemic about the war on drugs. This is a saga of confusion and failure. It's a film of lost causes and targets missed. A film where the status quo is upheld.
One thing that's been interesting to me is that my feelings about this issue are more complicated now than they were 2.5 years ago when we started on this. Because even when you take some of the magic wand ideas that you hear floated through to their conclusion, they're not really practical and they're not really workable, and they're certainly not something you can implement anytime soon.
I can't do this. If there is a war on drugs, then many of our family members are the enemy. And I don't know how you wage war on your own family.
The great Charles Bukowski once wrote that an intellectual says a simple thing in a hard way, while an artist says a hard thing in a simple way. It's a sentiment I admire, but it can land us with reductive movies about nuanced issues. Traffic works from the opposite direction. It edifies without simplifying. With the help of artful technical filmmaking, the film draws comparisons between individuals and institutions and our public and private lives to highlight the painful complexity of the issue that it's exploring.